Hey, Nicole Holland here. This is episode 42.
You're listening to the Business Building Rockstars Show, where your host, Nicole Holland, gets the lowdown from today's most talented, inspiring, and successful entrepreneurs on what it really takes to reach rockstar status.
Do you want to get your message out in a bigger way by being a guest on a web show or podcast just like this? If you do, text the letters I am ready to 33444, and I will send you free of charge a guide called How to Be a Great Guest. Don't make rookie mistakes that so many people do when they're starting out. Get known as a great guest that hosts search for free by texting I am ready to 33444. So to spell that out, it's the letters I am READY to 33444, and I will send you a complimentary copy of my guide, How to Be a Great Guest. My guest today is Stephanie Nickolich, and this woman is an absolute genius when it comes to building a business online and having an incredible life as well. We talk about how to achieve success without sacrifice and balancing it all out. Stephanie's journey has been a long and interesting one, and I'm super excited to share this interview with you today. So without further ado, here's the interview. Hey there, entrepreneur. Welcome to the Business Building Rockstars Show. I'm super excited to have with me here today, Stephanie Nickolich. She is a doubt-crushing, confidence-creating, cash-catapulting success strategist that teaches female coaches how to shift their money mindsets, capitalize on their greatest strengths, and create solid strategies for success. Stephanie is a mamapreneur, Yorkie lover, and fashion aficionado who splits her time between New York and Miami and hanging out in her Facebook group with over 10,000 women entrepreneurs from around the world. Stephanie, I'm so excited to have you here today. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. Let's do it.
Awesome. So why don't you fill in the blanks a little bit more, give us a little bit more information about what you do and how you serve people.
Absolutely. How much time do we have here together today? So basically I fell into becoming a mentor, and my mission kind of evolved. I did recently become a mom. I have an almost 5-month-old. She's completely and utterly changed the game for me. But once I found out that I was pregnant, I'm not married. So it was like a big, oh my gosh, what? And me and her father both have businesses. We have our own businesses. It's like, what are we going to do? I looked at my life and I was like, I was serving high-end private clients at the time. My practice was fully booked. I love my clients, but I had no time. I had absolutely no time. And I thought, well, that's not going to fly when I become a mommy, right? And the thing that was really important to me above anything else was being a present mommy. I didn't want to just be the mommy that was necessarily the provider in the household. Like, that's great, but the time I never get back with my daughter. She's going through these like amazing growth stages right now. And it was like, for me, it was like the most important thing. Like, I want to be present with her. And my life dream is to literally build sandcastles on the beach with my kid. And so I was like, all right, that's amazing. Now, how do we create this business that is fueled by this vision and this why and my bigger purpose? And so I started just studying consumer behavior, studying conversion ratios. I am the big picture girl, but I'm also very logistical. So I'm kind of like the world's meat. And I'm like, okay, how do I use those strengths to bring my voice to the world in a way that is also like fulfilling my own mission? And so it's like, I wanted to connect the dots for other women in business, not necessarily just moms, but a lot of moms too. They're doing it. They're hustling. They are making money. They're making moves. They're taking action. But at the end of the day, they're a little bit burnt out. And they're like, is there another way to leverage my strengths? Like, there has to be another way to get to the next level. And so I really started looking into passive revenue. And I successfully created a bunch of passive revenue streams. And that's really where the focus is. So I use evergreen sales funnels to teach people how to, what I call, build success without sacrifice. Because I truly believe you can have whatever the heck you want in life, whatever is really important to you, without having to give up everything. Like, I actually sleep 8 hours a night with a baby too, which is really impressive. And I'm a mom, and I set a lot of boundaries. I only work Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I can have all of this and still have a business that's hugely successful.
That's awesome. And I just love you. I've seen a lot of
Thank
you on
you.
Facebook and on your website, and I've checked you out. And it's like you speak my language. And what I really appreciate is even there you're saying like you can create all this stuff and set boundaries so you make it work for you. And just before we started recording, you and I talked a little bit about the crazy day that we're both having. And it's not to say that stuff like that doesn't happen. Like you got to hustle sometimes, but having that bigger picture, I think so many people miss that. And it's so important because when you have that big picture, you know that the short-term hustle is for the long-term gain so that you can in fact set those boundaries and not break them unless you really want to. Can you tell me a little bit about, you haven't always done this. Like you've been in business for a long time. You killed it. You really, I believe was it graphic design, or you were doing something before you sort of found your groove. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, completely, totally unrelated industries, actually. I own a fashion jewelry and accessory company. And I actually turned the company into like a multi-level marketing company. I had 17 women around the country underneath me, but it was just I had put so much into it. And it was just, I wasn't strategic in the moves that I made. I became $100,000 in debt as a result of my other company. Probably actually much more than that.
Of course more. Of course.
We'll stop there. Okay. That's not bad enough. But it was a huge learning experience for me. And when really my mentality with that company, I didn't know enough about running and building my own company. So I thought that I had to do it all. And, my mentality today is like, if you do it all, you're going to stay small. And in my case, you could potentially end up a whole bunch of money in debt too. But I don't really, that debt was actually one of the best things that probably ever happened to me, because it turned around my respect for money. It turned around my spending behaviors. I really look at everywhere our money goes on a regular basis, how much money we're making, how much money we're spending, what's creating a positive ROI, what's not. So I would have never had this relationship with money had I not learned from these lessons that I had. So when things really started to open up for me is actually when I hired a mentor myself. I had worked with many business coaches. I was an educational junkie, which is one of the things that got me in some significant trouble. I would attend all these conferences all over the United States mainly, and I would buy every program and piece of software, and I thought I had to be an expert of everything, and then I became the master of none. And I wasn't really tapping into my innate gifts. We're all born with something really special, and you don't have to search outside of the box for it. It already exists, believe me. But a lot of times, we're just I don't know. I really don't know what it was. I was looking for something else, always something else. And so I struggled significantly. I didn't have a team to support me. I was doing everything by myself. I was doing a heck of a lot of things that I should never be doing. And when I hired my mentor, I saw his thought process was so different than mine. And he showed me he opened up my eyes to what I could have, but I was so paralyzed at that point in time in my current reality. I couldn't see in front of it. And I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me. I was just oh my God, I was creating fear, which is creating doubt, and it was this endless cycle of just crap that was happening on a regular basis that was keeping me there. And once I learned how to get rid of those negative beliefs, to literally go back previous life experiences and be why am I operating this way? Why am I responding to things this way? And then learning how to act differently and to think differently above all, then I was able to really craft the reality that I wanted and start moving into that direction. And so I had overcome myself, and it was one of my life's biggest accomplishments. I literally had overcome myself, and this huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I felt I am called to do something bigger. And I felt in my previous company, I had this polished up brand, this beautiful business, and everybody thought I must have been doing really well, but behind the scenes, I was struggling in silence. And I thought, you know what? If I was struggling this much, there has to be other entrepreneurs out there that are trying to build businesses that are struggling behind the scenes. And if I just open my mouth and say something about it and talk from a place that's authentic to my journey, and if I help one person in a positive way, then I was meant to be doing something bigger. And I did. I started talking about it, and literally I didn't even have a business plan. I didn't have prices outlined. I didn't know what I was doing. I just felt called to help. And I did. And I showed up in a very value-based way. I started creating community amongst women online. That was it.
I love that.
The rest is history.
Yeah. And I think it's so important that we do talk about that history though, because a lot of times what happens is people aren't, right? And I was just thinking about this shortly before our interview today, in fact, and it's something that really fires me up is that the marketing that people do is fantastic. Like the big, the big marketing campaigns are fantastic. And you're like, oh my God, you're right. I need that. But people are missing the fact that the way that marketing happened was with a team of people and experts beyond that person. And that it's not as simple as buying a program and following it and then poof, you're all good. You're going to be me. It doesn't work like that.
I don't know if you really want to be me though.
And I think that a lot of my listeners are going to really resonate with your message and can really identify. It hurts my heart every day where I see people in like a gazillion different programs and buying programs and buying programs. And for me personally, it's a bit of a challenge because I'm really excited to promote and support people that I believe in, who I think, oh my gosh, this person is authentic. They're doing a great job. They give you the tools you need. But just because you get those tools doesn't mean you're going to implement them. That's where you need that direct mentorship or you need some strategy behind it. And so I love that you were able to come from a place of being in the hole and doing something that you're probably pretty good at, and then saying, this isn't right for me, and totally shifting gears without the plan. Because again, just to dig into that a little bit, a lot of people that come to me, they're really so focused on this planning. They have to have this all done step by step before they take action, or it's going to fail. And it's like, not really true.
Well, I didn't have a plan. I am a planner by nature, but I think I was ready. I took responsibility for where I was. That was a major thing. And I also committed to taking action. Like I was uncomfortable on a regular basis when I was working with my mentor. Like I would cry after our calls and I didn't care what he told me to do. I was doing it. I was like, I will do anything because I want it that badly. And that's when the shift started to change. And that's when that inner confidence and that clarity came. And then I felt really called to move into a new direction. And I was like, I have to create community amongst women online. I have to create community because especially being an online entrepreneur, your world becomes really isolated at times because you're not necessarily touching real people. And so you think, oh my God, everybody else looks like they're doing so well. And here I am struggling behind the scenes. And it's like, oh no, we all have our stories to get here, and not every day is a pretty day in my world, believe me. And I actually talk about it, like it's real life, guys. And so, those polished up brands and polished up businesses, they don't necessarily mean anything in all reality. So my journey has been a very authentic and transparent one. And I pride myself on sharing that now, what I used to hide behind, because I've been able to help a lot of people, probably thousands at this point, because I sell digital products, that have transformed their games. It's really amazing feeling to have that kind of impact on people by just being yourself, right?
Yeah, I love that. So tell me now, let's go back way back to where you were just learning to walk, as far back as you can remember. Did you have a dream before you started learning like what was real? Did you have a dream as a child that was like, I want to be this?
Yeah, actually I wanted to be a mall worker. I'm not sure if I'm really that's my life goal anymore. I think it's kind of shifted.
A mall worker? Was that what it was?
Mall worker. Yeah.
But you love clothes, right?
Yeah, I love fashion. I did study the business end of fashion. So it's kind of funny. You still are that little person behind the scenes. But actually when I think about it, because I was in corporate America for 9 years, almost 10 years. And I had so become this person that I'm like, oh my God, that would have never made me happy for the rest of my life. Thank God they cut my income, right? So when I look back at who I was as a kid, I grew up in a small town in New York, just right outside of Woodstock. Everybody's heard of Woodstock, right? Yeah, of course. Peace, love, all that stuff. So
I used to live in Montreal, so it wasn't too far.
Okay, yeah. So I actually heard the Woodstock music of 1994 from my house. We're really close to the festival site, and so it was I was obsessed with it as a kid. And I actually created a museum in my basement. I had newspaper clippings and VIP badges and t-shirts and mud. I had mud from the actual site. I had pieces of fence.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was that kid, right? And I charged people to get in. And I was so I made a business out of it. I understood at the age of 10 that you should set something up to create a business for money, for profit. I made brownies, but I was charging $2 to get in. And I think I made $22 or something.
Hopefully you didn't make Woodstock brownies at that age.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. but I made money. Like I made $22, right? I collected a bunch of free stuff. So my family took it like really seriously. And they were like, you know, nobody can go downstairs in the basement. I mean, I painted it all. Like I cut out potatoes in the sign of peace signs, painted them on the walls. And it was really,
that's awesome
for a 10-year-old actually. So I think when I think about that, I'm like, oh my God, when I became like that corporate person and like you go to college, you get the degree, you get in the corporate world, you climb the corporate ladder, you know, you do this, you get the house, you got the car, you get married, you get the kids, you whatever. I didn't make it that far, but then when I'm like, oh my God, that's so far outside of the person that I'm really inside, like that little creative being, like that little business builder is still who I am today. And now I get to be that person every day. And that's why it feels like it's so in alignment, like there's no resistance. And I think that's really an important thing to talk about, because a lot of times people think, oh, the struggle is just part of the story. And it's like, it really doesn't have to be, you know, like maybe you're out of alignment in something. Maybe you're not really fulfilling your life's purpose. Maybe there's something bigger that you're supposed to go after. Because if you constantly feel like you're fighting with your own business, like the analogy that I use is like, if you feel like you're in a rowboat that has like a gaping hole in the bottom of your boat, you're headed against the current, you have one paddle, you're blindfolded, you know, and you're always going upstream in the opposite direction. It's like, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because that's not the way business is supposed to feel.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And I think too, what's interesting is what you did as a kid and how you talk about alignment. I think a lot of times we don't really dig into that. We don't really think about, okay, before life happened, before I learned what was not possible, I was born. I came into this world with a knowing of something, and the conditions may be different, but what really lit me up as a kid is what can light me up as an adult. But most people aren't willing to go from, you know, to see that as possible, because they think, oh, that's just child's play. Oh, that was just a dream. Oh, that's not real. And the truth is, the most successful people in the world are able to actually live that essence of their childhood as adults. And that's where true happiness happens. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that. I don't think a lot of people even recognize that. And I found that again and again in the interviews I've done. I think you're about the 50th interview, and I've spoken with a lot of really awesome entrepreneurs like yourself who really have never even thought about it before. And then we talk about it and they're like, huh, I didn't even think about that. That is kind of related. Interesting, you know? So I encourage my listeners always, like, really look at what was fun for you as a kid and see if you can't bring some of those elements into your business and let go of the stress, let go of the shit that's just bogging you down.
Oh my God. Yeah. We accumulate like all these layers. We just keep layering stuff on from life experiences, good or bad, just keep layering. And then we hear things, we think we have to react a certain way, we have to be a certain way, we have to become a certain person. And it's like, really? None of that is scripted. Like, you are still that little person. I am still that little person. I am still that little business builder, you know? And I truly think when you do allow yourself to go back to those moments and truly become that person that you really were meant to be, then that is when the magic happens. And it happens, and people are like, how the hell did you build your business so quickly? And I'm like, oh, it was kind of effortless. I literally just showed up. Like, I just literally just showed up in a really big way. And I was like, I am ready. I am here. I have done the inner work on myself. I am commanding the world's attention, and I am going to help people left, right, center, and sideways. And I did. And my business just started going crazy. So I don't know. There's like a secret sauce formula, right? It was just, that's it. Show
yourself.
Be yourself. Be you so unapologetically. And I tell my clients every day, and I'm like, I don't know, I know this might sound kind of funny, but I'm like, the more you that you become, the more your business will grow in a way that you've never even imagined possible.
Yeah. I love that. It's so true. It's so true. So listeners, if you take one thing away, get that.
Exactly. Yeah. Go back to that little kid you were and just have fun with it. You know, like, my life is really fun. It's really gratifying. I do say no to a lot of things that don't support the bigger vision. I am not trying to be everything to everybody. There's probably a lot of people out there that don't even like me. I'm like, all right, that's fine. But my tribe, the people that are supposed to be in front of me, they find me because I am me, you know? So it's really, really, really important.
That's excellent. Very cool. So now if you could imagine a make-believe time machine, or I should say a realistic time machine, and really, because it is make-believe. But let's say it's not make-believe and you could like hop in and turn the dial back, let's say 10 years and see yourself. What advice would you give to yourself in terms of moving forward and building a business around a life you love and an income that you love?
I don't know that I would do anything differently. I've made a lot of mistakes all along the way, but I've learned so much in the process. I've done a lot of silly stuff in my life, but it's allowed me to become who I am today. And I don't think I wouldn't be this person if I hadn't had some of those experiences and some of those mishaps and some of those hiccups along the way. Like I wouldn't be this person. So I don't necessarily know, like I've always said, my motto has always really been like, live life with no regrets. And I truly feel like regardless of anything that happened in my past, things that they haven't defined me any way. I've taken every opportunity, good and bad, to grow, to learn from this experience and to be able to move forward with more grace and more determination and be fueled by the bigger picture. So I don't know that I would say anything differently to myself.
Just be you.
There you go.
Awesome. So has there been a specific mentor in your life that has really made an impact in a way that you want to mention?
Yeah, 100%. So his name is Rick. He's like not even in the online world. I was referred to him because I was really in a point of struggle in my previous business. I was at a 3-day event and I went to the VIP dinner. I bought like a VIP ticket, remember, educational junkie. And I went to the VIP dinner. There was about 100 people in the room and there was a panel of multimillionaires. And there was about time for 8 questions or something during dinner. And I jumped up. I was probably number 1. I was like jumping out of my seat. Like, this is a great opportunity. Ran up to the room. Like, who are you? What do you do? And they could see the passion inside of me. I'm like, I know I'm going to be successful, but I am certainly not there right now. And I have no idea how to connect the dots. And I was just pouring my heart out up there. And I was standing in front of them. They gave me a lot of recommendations, but what was more impactful is that all the people in the room were listening to me. And over the next 2 days of the conference, I had multiple people come up and make recommendations. You got to talk to this person. You got to talk to this person. You got to talk to this person. Well, he ended up being one of those people. I took all that information in, and for the next week, I made it like I was dedicated to getting in touch with these people, to scheduling time to chat with them, to see who was going to be the right person to help me really get to the next level or just get out of my own way. I didn't even know at that point what I was hiring them for, right? But when I talked to him, he was different from anybody else because he had the mindset and the money game that I wanted. Like he thought like a successful CEO. And I was like dealing with a lot of clutter up there. So it was a completely different ball game. I also knew he wasn't going to deal with my bullshit. So I was like, you're the guy. How do I hire you? And I started working with him. We worked together for several months on my previous company. He had a lot of experience in like the multi-level marketing space. So he built 2 $40 million a year businesses. So he's really successful there. And then I obviously took a turn in my business to kind of move into the direction of creating Success Society. He actually wasn't on board with that plan. But thank God, sometimes even regardless if you have a mentor or not, they don't have all the answers in the world, but he definitely changed my perception. Like he changed my outlook on life, on business, my gifts, what I'm really capable of. He did give me a lot of resources to dive into. And one of those is a book. It's called Ask and It Is Given. I carried it around like it was my Bible for months at a time. I had the paper copy. I just wrote on all the pages and I've used some of the exercises in my own life and in my business. And it really like removed the veil. Literally the doors, the floodgates opened for me after I was able to do all that inner work on myself. So yeah, thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. And thanks, Abraham, right?
Yeah, Abraham, exactly.
So we'll put that in the show notes. And so we're we're recording this in April, and we're just 1 month, I think it's May 28th or sometime at the end of May, I'm actually getting to go to an Abraham workshop for the first time. So I'm super
amazing. He's a huge fan of Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So now what would you say your guilty pleasure is, if you have one?
I'm absolutely addicted to Starbucks. I know I hate to admit that, but I'm totally a Starbucks junkie. I'm a coffee junkie. I'm an absolute coffee junkie. And I really love dark chocolate. And then like some weird thing, I like love new white socks. So
that's awesome.
Totally unrelated, but I really like new white socks.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that before. And you say Starbucks. I got addicted to soy chai lattes at Starbucks. And like, I just could not, first of all, I live in the middle of nowhere. So there's no Starbucks anywhere around. And then I was buying the stuff at the store, like the Tazao or however you say it, the concentrate. And then I looked at it and what all the preservatives and crap that's in there. So now I like brew my own chai with the agave sweetener and I get coconut milk and I make my own little
delicious.
Starbucks.
Now I'm jealous. I'm like salivating at the mouth over.
It makes me happy.
There
and
you
it's
go.
been so cold that like, I don't like drinking this, when it's cold, but now it's just gotten really beautiful here. And now it's like, okay, it's time for a summer drink. I don't want hot tea. I don't want hot coffee. I want, latte. Very cool. So now, you have a lot of boundaries and you also, you take care of yourself, but you also really take care of your clients and your business. How do you manage all of that? Is there sort of a success strategy or daily practice that helps you?
I have sales funnels in place and I have a team, and I have a ton of systems that are running behind the scenes. And so that's like my biggest piece of advice. Like these are things that you should invest in the beginning stages of your business. Still, I mean, we're killing it. We're doing gangbusters, but I actually invest 98% of my income right back into my business. I expand my team whenever possible because my team is helping me build the bigger vision. And so that's part of the reason why I've been able to move from, through this journey so quickly is because I've always invested in people to grow this vision, to help me grow this vision. I also don't take private clients anymore. So I leveraged myself out of that and I created passive revenue streams. So I would say not 100% of my revenue is passive. I have group programs and stuff, but about 50% is right now. And so I get to do a hell of a lot of fun stuff because I have passive revenue where I don't have to worry about where the next dollar is coming from, or the next lead is coming from. I just kind of like get to do the stuff that I really love to do. And it's pretty cool. So yeah, go passive.
Awesome. And, last question before we wrap up, and then I'll turn it over to you to let people know how they can reach out to you, how they can connect with you. So in terms of developing those systems and that passive income, do you have a favorite online tool that really helps you or helped you at the beginning to get there other than the strategy?
Yeah. So, I mean, I use a lot of systems behind the scenes. So I do use Infusionsoft, although it's not for everyone. I have to say that, like, if you're not making six figures, I would probably advise that you don't get it right now. It's a great piece of software. It can be extremely beneficial to you because it has a lot of application plugins that allow you to track user data, run reports. Like, I'm such a numbers junkie, so it is really beneficial to your business, but it also can be, in the beginning stages, I call it Confusionsoft. And so there's other pieces of CRM or autoresponder software that you can use that are a little bit more user-friendly. If you're just starting out, you can use free tools like MailChimp, or you can use Aweber. That's not free, but it's fairly inexpensive. You can use ConvertKit. It's another email software. It has really high open rates. So you can use those things in the meantime when you're building a business, because you have to focus on like what really matters at the right time. It's really important. Like if you're going to make the investment in a tool like Infusionsoft, that there's a time that you need it and there's a time that you don't. And actually I've bought it twice because when I first bought it, it became a hindrance more than it helped me. And then I had to buy it again. So just don't do what I did, clearly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And why don't you let our listeners know where they can go to find out more information about you and what you have to offer?
Absolutely. So we have a Facebook group online. It's, sorry for any men that are listening, it's called Female Entrepreneurs Collaborate. But it's almost like 11,000 members now. So it's pretty cool. It's very, very highly interactive. So that's on Facebook, Female Entrepreneurs Collaborate. You can check me out on my website anytime and at stephanieknickolich.com. I have a bunch of business building swag and then some of my lower price point products and all the stuff that I do. So you can totally follow me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really had fun with you today and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been a blast. Yeah, I love doing stuff like this. So I appreciate it.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, make sure to subscribe on iTunes so that you don't miss another episode. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. And if you want to catch up on past episodes, it's super easy to do when you subscribe on iTunes. Also, we're on Stitcher. And of course, you can visit bbrshow.com for all of the episodes, show notes, and more. I would love to hear what you think about today's episode by leaving a review on iTunes, or also you can go to bbrshow.com, and on our show notes page, there is a comment section. Dear listeners, I do this show for you, so the more you let me know what you love, the more I can bring you that. Don't forget that the Business Building Rockstar Show releases every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So 3 times per week, you can listen in to what the journey towards rockstar status entrepreneurship is really like. Until next time, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting again real soon.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this episode of the Business Building Rockstars Show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a thing. And visit bbrshow.com for all the show notes and links to resources discussed on today's show. Plus, lots more.